Hello, you beautiful individuals. We are back again looking at Mr. Definitely Not a Doctor, Kent Hovind, to listen to more of his lies about, well, science, religion, just life in general. Um, if somehow, you don't know about Kent Hovind, which well, it's easily possible, if you haven't watched this channel or many, many, many of the other channels that have covered him. He's a charlatan, a con man, basically just misrepresents science and religion, both in the pursuit to make himself more money, that to fund his little church thing, which you kind of read at the top there, but it's all grainy right now. Maybe it just hasn't buffered yet or something. I don't know, but it's Dinosaur Adventureland, I guess. I don't know. The dude's something else. I mean, if this video doesn't show it, just go watch a few more of his and you'll see what I mean. I'm not going to go into too much of him because I've covered him 1,000 times already. So, yeah, this is Pulling Out the Pacifier, Part 4, Natural Selection. And it's funny that he has a thing about the pacifiers, considering on our second debate, I believe it was, he actually used a pacifier, like, put it in his mouth. And I don't know, he usually, like, uses the pacifier to talk about time or whatever, to represent that quote unquote evolutionists need time, and he uses the pacifier as a weird analogy. I don't know. Anyway, not the point. He loves his little gimmicks and analogies. Like, actually, you can see the SpongeBob there right behind him. He loves to use that one too. So yeah, this is on Rumble, obviously, because YouTube kind of kicked him out for the most part. I mean, you can still find videos of his on YouTube, but it's getting harder and harder to, find interesting ones, or ones that I think may be interesting. I mean, obviously, like I've said before, I don't watch any of these beforehand. I just go into them blind and see what happens. So, you know, maybe we'll make it through this whole thing. Maybe we won't. It just depends if my brain decides to melt before we get to the end of it. So, yeah, without further ado, let's get into it.
In lovely Lenox, Alabama, April 25th, 2023. Tonight, pull out pacifier number 4. Atheists rely on pacifiers to keep them content and keep them from crying. We'll have to pull them out, guys. There's nothing in them. Got visit tonight. John from Canada. You say you're a mechanic.
What? What? I honestly, I don't even know how to respond to whatever that just was. Anyway.
Experimental mechanic from mechanical for the Chrysler. So are they going to get a car that runs forever or something? Trying. Okay. Well, great. Good to have you here. How'd you hear about us? Watching the videos. Okay. And Billy, the atheist, took the tour today. How much footage did we get? We toured the Science Center. We got probably an hour's.
Okay, so I skipped ahead a bit because he was going on and on about some dude that's there with him right now. I don't know. I didn't watch any of it. I just skipped ahead until I seen a baby with a pacifier. I'm assuming now he's going to get to his point, hopefully. So, yeah, let's continue.
Pacifiers do not provide any nourishment for the baby. They only provide a false sense of security. Evolutionists have many empty pacifiers they suck on, hoping to find nourishment. All are empty. Sorry, guys.
Well, the pacifiers aren't for nourishment anyway. What are you talking? Like, you have kids. Like, pacifiers are just a comfort thing. It's just to help the baby, you know, feel better, basically. Like, it's just to give them that sense of comfort and to calm them down. It has nothing to do with nourishment. See, this is what I mean. His analogies are just ridiculous. And by the way, I am sincerely sorry about this horrendous quality of this video. I don't know if it's because it's on Rumble or if it was always like this. Like, maybe this was a live stream that he did, and instead of recording it separately, he just like one of his technical dudes just screen recorded the live stream, and that's why it's all grainy. So there's nothing I can do about that right now. In editing, I'll try to clear this up a bit if I can, but yeah, this quality is just horrendous.
Guys, suck harder. Maybe it'll start working. Right. New York Times, Stephen Weinberg. Anything we scientists can do to weaken the hold of evolution, of religion, should be done. Well, Stephen, evolution's a religion. If you're really a scientist and you deal with science, things you can see, study, observe, test, demonstrate, evolution doesn't fit that. Okay.
It absolutely does. We can observe it. We do observe it all the time, daily. We can test it. It's not obviously a religion, it's a science. It's a theory based on hundreds of years of testing through countless scientists forming hypothesis and then trying to prove it wrong over and over and over again until they can't, and it gets formed into a theory that basically the highest form a of a scientific idea that you can have. And no, it's not, a law is not the highest form. Like, the law of thermodynamics, for example, that's a completely different concept from a theory of something. Like, a law just explains, how something works. Like, it explains the mechanisms of how something works. A theory just explains what those mechanisms apply to. I mean, not thermodynamics. I mean, I'm just, using that as an example. But anyway, that's just, neither here nor there.
Okay. One by one, we're going to pull out the pacifiers you atheists suck on for your religion. Sit back and listen while them scream. They can't have their passy. I know it's pull to sound alarm. I like that one. Okay. Pull to sound alarm. The mute button, put it in. Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, I like that mute button one. That's actually pretty funny. Like that's a funny pacifier. But man, I gotta say, Hovind, the only I've never seen a scientist or evolutionist, as you say, suck on a pacifier. But like I said in our second debate, I did see you suck on a pacifier. So there's that.
Yeah, it's a mute button for some kid. Okay. I like that one. Strap it in there. We can't. What am I getting?
You would like that one, wouldn't you, Kent? A little kinky there, aren't you, buddy? Ah. I mean, I could be looking into this wrong, but I mean, to me, that doesn't look like a normal pacifier. That looks more like a, sexual type of thing. I could be wrong, obviously. Maybe there's a completely different benign reason for that. What I'm presuming is a grown or at least older woman having that in her mouth. But yeah, that's not a regular pacifier there, buddy. And she's way too old to be having a regular pacifier anyway.
Does that beard starting to grow there? Never mind. Okay. By far the biggest to suck on is time. We talked about that a couple weeks ago. This one gives them a false sense of security. Oh, given enough time, it could happen.
Yeah, time, of course, time. Hovind's like arch nemesis, basically, because it just completely destroys his entire worldview. Even though without time, by the by, it would destroy essentially all of science. I mean, cosmology, astronomy, biology, geology, all of it. Like, time doesn't just, it's not just for evolution. Like, without this time that the universe took to form and the earth took to form. I mean, it's like that's what bugs me so much about him. He attacks evolution so much because he wants to believe that God created all animals and humans in 7 days and threw them on a boat, and then somehow we still have all the things that we have today that came from those animals on the boat, but whatever. But yeah, time doesn't just pertain to evolution there.
I asked Bill today, and I ask this all the time. How can an animal change to something else? We don't see it happen in our lifetime.
Yeah, because animals don't change to something else. Like when you say stuff like that, when you say a frog turned to a prince, or a whale turned to a dog, or a tree turned to a human, or whatever nonsense thing you want to say, that's not how it works. Individuals do not evolve. Populations of life forms evolve. It's a very, not a simple concept. I mean, it's obviously very complex, but it's something even my 5-year-old can comprehend. And for some reason, I don't know, you just don't have the brain power to 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 form that thought correctly in your head. I mean, populations evolve. They mutate and pass on those mutations to their offspring. And then after time, I know your least favorite word, eventually those offsprings with those mutations, after enough of them have procreated and made more offsprings with mutations and so on and so forth, and it keeps going down for a very long time, they form a new species. Just because they've had so many mutations that they're no longer like their original, you know, the population of species that they started from. And because a mutation is any change, any change at all to like to the letters, or well, the nucleotides sequences. I mean, it's not just like one day you have a mouse and all of a sudden it changes into a lion. Like that's ignorant. Nobody says that. Nobody thinks that. You're the only one stupid enough to think something like that.
Well, you have to wait millions of years or billions of years. Oh, so time. That's one pacifier. We talked about that a couple. Sorry. This one alone makes them, gives them the most comfort, and they scream the loudest when you pull it out. Time. I can't have millions of years. No, you can't.
See, no, nobody's screaming. Okay, nobody's yelling at you because of your ridiculous ideas. Well, I mean, yeah, I'm sure maybe someone has yelled at you for them, but my point is, nobody's whining about it. Nobody takes you seriously. Your theories and ideas are ridiculous. They can't be tested, they can't be proven, they can't be observed. All you have is a book. Science has countless years, countless scientists, hypothesis, test, theories, and the main thing is that they can be wrong, or at least not completely correct. Like you don't have the full story, in which they evolve to become more correct, unlike the Bible, which just evolves to form a more, coherent or better moral standing in today's society. But the information in it is still basically the same, and it's still wrong. I mean, yes, I'm sure like there are kernels of truth in the stories in the Bible. Like I imagine, the like say stories of angels, for example. I don't think there were actual angels, but may there have been, these heroic figures long, 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 long time ago that got deified over you know, generations and generations and eventually turn into these angelic like beings, like, through stories, not actually turning into angelic beings. That makes sense because that's how stories work. I mean, have you ever been to kindergarten, Kent? You ever played the telephone game? I mean, you can't even get it right with a classroom of like 20 kids. How do you think your storybook that is whatever, a couple thousand years old, is going to have anything to do with how the stories were originally, back when they were, back when they actually happened?
You ask them, how on earth did a single celled creature turn to whales, humans, birds, fish, trees? They'll say, given enough time.
No, that's not what they say. I mean, it's partly what they say, but that's not. See, you just misrepresent everything. Those single cell creatures didn't just turn into those. They mutated. They had mutations that formed, yes, over a very long period of time and branched out. And the mutations that were beneficial were naturally selected, and those creatures or singular cellular organisms or whatever procreated or whatever to form offsprings with those same mutations, and then so forth and so forth. And the mutations that weren't beneficial got naturally selected to be kicked out of there, basically. They didn't procreate, they didn't last because the mutations aren't perfect. I mean, obviously, some mutations are beneficial, some are harmful. The harmful ones generally don't make it. That's what natural selection is.
That's the pacifier. They make these silly trees of life on science at all. And they say, oh, yeah, they're related to the, let's see, arthropods, yeah, and the worms and the starfish. Yeah. How do you know that? Well, 700 million years ago, stop right there. This is pure baloney. Get my video number 1 in the seminar series about the age of the Earth. The Earth cannot be millions of years old.
God, honestly, I would love to watch your video number one right now if it was better quality than this. I mean, dear God, what? I assure you, this has nothing to do with my computer. Like, I can pull up a video on YouTube, no issue. I can pull up another video on Rumble here, and I'm sure there would be no issue. Actually, you know what? We're going to try real quick just to check. Okay, yeah. I pulled up a different video on Rumble, completely unrelated. It was, I don't know what it was, just some nonsense on their front page. Quality, perfect. So, I mean, I've seen other videos of yours, Kent. Like, the quality was fine. What the heck happened here? I mean, you can't see anything. You can't read anything. Your voice keeps cutting in and out. I'm gonna try to give this just maybe a little bit longer, but I don't know.
Okay, let's see, right here, 700 million years ago. Well, there it is. They change over time. Their baby, that's their pacifier right there.
No, it's just how it is. Time is a thing. It's just the way the universe works, okay? I'm sorry you live in a fantasy land that you read a book and you got so invested that you decided to dive right into that fantasy and you can't seem to pull yourself out. I mean, it's like somebody, reading the Harry Potter series and becoming so obsessed that they think the world is actually Harry Potter. Like they actually think that if you run through that whatever 9 3/4 level, brick wall, I can't remember exactly what it was, that you would actually go through it, but you don't. I can't do any more of this video. If maybe if one of you have like a better link to it or something with the quality not so crap, maybe I'll come back to it. But honestly, I probably won't because it's just the same spiel about time and blah 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 blah. So yeah, we're just gonna end it here, and I'm gonna look for that. I'm gonna look for that screenshot I have of him with the pacifier. That'd be perfect for thumbnail for this. But anyway, sorry for the bad quality of his video. I mean, not like my videos or anything that great. Don't get me wrong, but dear God, at least you can, see them, and at least you can hear me without cutting out every 3 seconds. So yeah, if you don't make it far into this video, I understand. I probably wouldn't have either. This quality is just horrendous. Man. But anyway, thanks for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, and until next time.